Two-sum problem is one of the most frequently asked problems in technical interviews, particularly when dealing with arrays or lists. The two-sum problem serves as an indicator for a candidate's problem-solving skills, algorithmic thinking, and ability to communicate effectively under pressure. So, in this video, we will understand and implement two-sum problem in arrays using iterative approach in JavaScript. Let's start understanding with two-sum problem. Two-sum problem involves finding two numbers in an array that add up to a given target value. Suppose we are given an array A of n numbers and there is another number x. The task is to check whether or not there exist two elements in an array whose sum is exactly x. Suppose we have an array a equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and we are given another number x equal to 10. The task is to find out if there are any two numbers in the array when added together result in the given number, in this case 10. First step is function declaration. We will declare a function named toSum that takes two parameters. First parameter is ARR. ARR is an array in which toSum problem is performed. And second parameter is target. Target is the target sum. So we will write function toSum ARR comma target, after that curly braces. Second step is to create an empty object to store visited elements. Here we will initialize an empty object named visited. The purpose of this object is to store visited elements. As a function, it iterates through the array ARR. The visited object will be used later in the function to keep track of elements that have been visited during the iteration through the array. This approach is commonly used in algorithms where we need to remember previously seen elements. In the context of two-sum problem, it helps in quickly determining whether a pair of elements that sum up to the target exist in the array. So we will write let visited equal to empty object, that is empty curly braces. Third step is to iterate through the array. We will write a for loop that iterates through each element of the array ARR. First thing is that loop is initialized with I equal to 0, which sets the loop counter variable I to 0. This means the loop will start at the first element of the array, since array indices start at 0. So we will write for let I equal to 0. Second thing is that the loop condition I less than ARR.length ensures that the loop will continue iterating as long as the loop counter I is less than the length of the array, that is ARR.length. It returns the number of elements in the array. So the loop will continue until I reaches the last index of the array. So we will write I less than ARR.length. Third thing is that after each iteration of the loop counter I is incremented by 1, causing the loop to move to the next element in the array. This for loop allows the code to visit each element of the array in sequence, starting from the first element, that is ARR0, and ending at the last element, that is ARR.length minus 1. This iteration process is essential for performing operations or checks on each element of the array. In the context of two-sum problem, it allows the code to examine each element and determine whether there exists a pair of elements that sum up to the target value. So we will write I++. Fourth step is to calculate the difference. We will calculate the difference between the target value and the current element of the array ARRI. The current element of the array is accessed using the loop counter variable I, which represents the index of the current iteration. The result of the subtraction operation target minus ARRI is stored in a variable named diff. So we will write const diff equal to target minus ARRI. Here target is the desired sum of two elements that we want to find. Diff will represent the difference between the target sum and ARRI is the current element of the array. In the context of two-sum problem, this calculation is important for determining diff value. When diff value is added to the current element, it would result in the target sum. Fifth step is to check if the difference exists. If the difference exists in the visited object, it means we have found a pair of numbers. So we will write if visited diff, after that curly braces. Here, if statement checks if the calculated difference diff exists as a key in the visited object. In JavaScript, if we try to access a property in an object that does not exist, then it returns undefined. If the property exists, it returns its value. So, visited diff checks if there is a property with the name diff in the visited object. If it exists, it means that the difference value has been encountered previously during the iteration. In this case, the function immediately returns true to indicate that a pair of numbers with the given sum exists in the array. So we will write return true. Sixth step is to mark the current element as visited. Inside the for loop, after checking if a pair of elements has been found or not, the current element of the array is marked in the visited object. ARRI represents the current element of the array being processed during the current iteration of the loop. By assigning true to visited ARRI, the code marks the current element as visited in the visited object, using the value as a key. In JavaScript, objects are essentially collection of key value pairs. The keys can be strings or numbers. Here, ARRI is used as the key in the visited object to mark the current element as visited. By setting the value corresponding to this key to true, indicates that the element has been visited during the iteration, and this element is current element. So we will write visited ARRI equal to true. Seventh step is to return false if no pair is found. After the loop completes, if no pair of numbers is found that adds up to the target value, the function returns false. This signifies that no pair with the given sum exists in the array. Basically, this part of the code ensures that each element of the array is marked as visited in the visited object. As the function iterates through the array, if no pair of numbers is found that adds up to the target value during the iteration, the function returns false to indicate that no such pair of numbers exist in the array. So we will write return false. Let's take an example to understand some problem with iterative method. Suppose we have an array, so we will write const array1 equal to 3, 7, 11 and 15. We need to find two numbers in an array that add up to a target value of 9. Therefore, we will assign a new variable target sum1 with a value of 9. So we will write const target sum1 equal to 9. Now we will call the function toSum, and we will pass two arguments to this toSum function. First argument is array1 and second argument is target sum1. For printing the result, we will use console.log. If the function returns a truthy value, that is true, the condition evaluates to true and the code block inside the if statement is executed. So we will write if toSum within bracket two arguments array1 comma target sum1, and we will print the message. We will use console.log and we will write the message. The message is yes, there exist two elements whose sum is exactly target sum1. Second condition is if the condition in the if statement evaluates to false, that is the toSum function returns a falsy value, the code block inside the else statement is executed. So we will write else console.log after that message, no, there are no two elements whose sum is exactly target sum1. So we will save the file and open new terminal, and we will run the file with the command node and the file name. We will see no, there are no two elements whose sum is exactly 9. This is the result, and this result is okay, it's true. So our algorithm is successfully working. Example 2. Let's take another example to understand two-sum problem with iterative method. Suppose we have an array2 equal to 1, 2, 3, 8. So we will write const array2 equal to 1, 2, 3, 8. We need to find two numbers in an array that add up to a target value of 10. Therefore, we will assign a new variable target sum2 with a value of 10. So we will write const target sum2 equal to 10. Now we will call the function toSum and we will pass two arguments to this toSum function. First argument is array2 and second argument is target sum2. For printing the result, we will use console.log. If the function returns a truthy value, that is true, the condition evaluates to true and the code block inside the if statement is executed. So we will write if toSum within bracket two arguments array2 comma target sum2, after that curly braces, and we will use console.log for printing the message and we will write the message, yes, there exist two elements whose sum is exactly target sum2. Second condition is if condition in the if statement evaluates to false, that is toSum function returns a falsy value. The code block inside the else statement is executed. So we will write else console.log and the message is no, there are no two elements whose sum is exactly target sum2. So we will save the file and we will open new terminal and we will run the file with the command node and the file name. We will see that yes, there exist two elements whose sum is exactly 10, and we will check in the example also both of our examples are working. The result is okay, result is true, so our example is working and our algorithm is also working. In this video, we will understand and implement toSum problem in arrays using nested traversal in JavaScript. A quick introduction of toSum problem. toSum problem involves finding two numbers in an array that add up to a given target value. Suppose we are given an array A of n numbers and there is another number x. The task is to check whether or not there exist two elements in an array whose sum is exactly x. Now we will understand nested traversal. Nested traversal refers to a method of accessing and processing nested data structure, such as nested arrays or object. In nested traversal, we iterate through each level of the nested structure. Nested traversal is commonly used when working with hierarchical data structure, such as trees, graphs, or multidimensional arrays. Firstly, a constant variable nested array is defined as an array containing three nested arrays. Each nested array represents a row of values. With the first nested array 1, 2, 3 represents the first row, the second nested array 4, 5, 6 represents the second row, and the third nested array 7, 8, 9 represents the third row. So we will write const nested array equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's implement toSum problem in arrays using nested traversal with steps. First step is function declaration. We will declare a function named toSum that takes two parameters. First parameter is ARR. ARR is an array in which toSum problem is performed. And second parameter is target. Target is the target sum we want to find. So we will write function toSum within bracket ARR comma target, after that curly braces. Second step is to write nested loop structure. To traverse this nested array, we use nested loops. Nested loop structure has two parts. First part is outer loop and the second part is inner loop. Firstly, we will understand outer loop. Outer loop iterates over the top level arrays. The outer loop is the loop controlled by I, that is index of the top level arrays. The outer loop iterates over each element of the array ARR. It starts from the first element, that is I equal to 0. So we will write for let I equal to 0 and continues until it reaches the last element, that is I equal to ARR dot length minus 1. So we will write I less than ARR dot length. After each iteration of the loop, I is incremented by 1. So we will write I++. The inner loop starts from the element next to the current element of the outer loop, that is I plus 1. So we will write for loop for let j equal to I plus 1 and continues until it reaches the last element of the array. So we will write j less than arr dot length. After each iteration of the loop, j is incremented by 1. So we will write j plus plus. So in this nested loop structure, together these nested loops allow us to access each element of the nested array and perform operations on them. Third step is pairwise comparison. As we know, index I is from the outer loop and index j is from the inner loop. Within the inner loop, each element at index I is compared with every subsequent element starting from index j. For each pair of elements, their sum is computed, that is arri plus arrj. And we check the condition if the sum of the current pair equals the target value, that is target. So we will write if arri plus arrj 3 times equal to sign target. In JavaScript, for comparison, we use 3 times equal to sign. Fourth step is returning true. If a pair with the sum equal to the target is found, the function immediately exits and returns true. This indicates that there exist two elements in the array whose sum equals the target, fulfilling the condition of two-sum problem. So we will write return true. Fifth step is loop continuation. If no such pair is found within the inner loop, the loop continues iterating over subsequent elements. The inner loop iterates over all possible pairs of elements in the array, ensuring that each pair is compared exactly once. Sixth step is returning false. If the outer loop completes without finding any pair whose sum equals the target, the function returns false. This indicates that there are two elements in the array whose sum equals the target value. So we will write return false. Example number 1. Let's take an example to understand two-sum problem. Suppose we have an array 1 equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we will write const array 1 equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need to find two elements in an array that add up to a value of 7. Therefore, we will assign a new variable target sum1 with a value of 7. So we will write const target sum1 equal to 7. Now we will call the function toSum and we will pass two arguments to this toSum function. First argument is array1 and second argument is target sum1. For printing the result, we will use console.log. If the function returns a truthy value, that is true, the condition evaluates to true and the code block inside the if statement is executed. So we will write if toSum within bracket array1 comma target sum1. After that we will write console.log to print the message, and message is yes, there exist two elements in the array whose sum is exactly target sum1. If the condition in the if statement evaluates to false, that is the toSum function returns a false value, falsy value, the code block inside the else statement is executed. So we will write else console.log and after that message. No, there are no two elements whose sum is exactly target sum1. Similarly, we have taken one more example and we will see the result. So we have saved the file and we will open new terminal and we will run the file with the command node and file name. We will press enter and we'll see yes, there are two elements in array 1 whose sum is exactly 7, and no, there are no two elements in the array whose sum is exactly 10. So we will check here. Yeah, sum is not 10 and in this one sum is 7. So our algorithm is successfully working.